right. Oops. Do I have my thing here? Let me see. I do. Yeah, I don't really want to change my setup over here because I don't know. I guess I can do it though. Let's see here. Hold on. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, good practice, I guess. Let's see. What this works. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I want to read from this book here. It's I haven't really gotten very far into it. Not very far into it at all. Excited to read it though. It's from one of my favorite movies as a child, Hercules. I love telling my really close dear friend of mine about one particular moment in the film where Hercules has lost all his power. Simple, normal man, weak even. Looking at the Cyclops that has been released by Hades. And all of his strength is gone because he lost it from Megara. Again, it wasn't really Megara. It was Hades, Hades had tricked Megara. And Hercules lost all of his strength. And again, if a normal man, even weak, but he looks at the Cyclops, right? Destroying his beloved city of Athens. And he starts marching toward that Cyclops, And then Megara stops him. And she says, what are you doing? You'll be unalived. And he, turns to her and he says, there are worse things. I love that line. I love that moment. I think it's very quaint, if not beautiful. I've resonated with that moment over the years. Not because I wanted to. Maybe it's just, again, part of my arc in life. But I was on a live earlier, talking with some Christian brothers out there. And we were talking about, what are we talking about? I'm feeling tired. I'm kind of dealing with the withdrawals of nicotine, you know what I'm saying? I could down another monster. I got work in a little bit, so it's cool, you know what I'm saying? And these energy drinks are something. I am starting to, I'm starting to submit to my sense that there is a strong addictive component to the monsters. They definitely work. They definitely give you, I suppose that crash, right? You do feel that crash. Man, that's maybe what I'm feeling right now. I had one today already. Anyways, but why I resonate with that moment, it's because I was talking with these Christian brothers on the live, and I seen, I was being asked about different things, right? Because I am not Christian. I grew up in America within a Christian culture. Yeah. What's up, X-Man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Just listening to your live.
All right. Let me see. I gotta Okay. Who is this? Jay Moreno. ¿Cómo estás? There you go. Very good. Yeah, I was saying, anyway. Um, yeah, that moment resonates with me, with Megara, you know what I'm saying? Attempting to stop Hercules from, doing a suicide mission, as it were. Uh, because, again, normal man going up against a Cyclops, a several hundred feet tall Cyclops, is essentially suicide. It's kamikaze. Um, and it's like, but it's interesting, because there's a path in life. I don't want to be all, I'm saying stereotyping. It's not my intention here. Because for a moment I was thinking about like this whole path of the man thing. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what Hercules is, kind of, it's kind of expressed in that moment, you might say. Um, but I think that there's more to it than that. It's not just the man or the demigod or, what I'm saying, the hybrid, you know, half man, half god or whatever. It's like it's kind of just like it's. I think it's one of those weird things where it's part of life because you might look at that moment and think, well, like what else is he gonna do? Is he just gonna run away? Is he just gonna run away and let her die? Is he gonna or be unalived? Is he is he just gonna watch his city burn? It's not. This isn't a. It's not. There's no gender thing. It's just he's kind of realizing, or he's just kind of facing what he sees. And anyway, I think it's a beautiful scene. I'm working my way into reading this book here. Yeah, I'm excited about it though because it's going into the. I've always been a kind of a huge fan of the the holistic story. Like not just having one main character, but realizing the many characters that build the story together. Um, like there may be a face, there may be a poster child, or a what I'm saying, a spokesperson, or a representative, or some kind of face to communicate with the crowd or the group, or what I'm saying. But in the end, we're all in it together. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, for me, this is like, this is great because I get to go into some of the stories of the muses. The muses are, you know, um, really cool in, Greek mythology and in the movie. I think, if you didn't, if you weren't listening to the muses sing, their songs and, um, what I'm saying, do their thing, you weren't really watching the movie. And yeah, it was. And so anyway, I am excited to finally actually get into this book, but I'm working my way there because I'm going at my pace, and I'm just working through some things here. But I wasn't even like I said, I wasn't even intending to have a panel, but I don't mind per se. All right, because why not? I get to throw you a little love when I can, so I'm not against you being here. Um, let's see. Yeah, all right, let's get started then. All right, let's see here. Mnemosyne stood on the edge of the craggy cliff, listening to the whistle of the brisk wind blowing through the barren tree branches below. The blanket of thick, gray storm clouds that had shrouded the valley for the past few days had finally lifted. She took in a huge lungful of that clean mountain air. It was invigorating and comforting. And she was far enough away from the oppressive demands of Mount Olympus that she could finally feel a sense of calm. She had not experienced true peace in so long that even she, the goddess of memory, could barely recall what it felt like. Her fear had lessened with every moment that passed after she'd fled from Mount Olympus, the place where she'd spent so many onerous years. Now she had a new destiny to fulfill. Had the time finally come? A loud crack, followed by a harsh, high-pitched squawk, sent Nemosine scrambling for cover. She looked up just in time to see a bird swooping overhead, its wings extending out several feet on each side. An eagle. Nemosine's breath caught in her throat. Eagles signified courage, a sign that one was ready to embark on a journey. But was she ready? Was this the right time? She'd told herself she would know when the time came. That moment when the world was ready to receive the beautiful creatures that were still only ideas in her head and sketches in her journal. 1 second, I gotta make sure that this live goes out to someone special to me, so hold on a second here. Yeah. It was her girls. Ironically, if it had not been for her determination to make a deal with Zeus, the supreme leader of the gods of Olympus, and the one who'd held her very existence in his mighty hands, Mnemosyne would have never dreamed up the idea for her girls. But that was all the credit she was willing to give to Zeus. They would be her girls. She was the one who would be responsible for their lives once they finally came to be. Yeah, that's interesting. She intended to weave a connection into the very fabric of their souls, a thread that would keep them bounded both to her and to one another. This sounds like a maternal thing to do. Had the time to create them arrived, suddenly a sense of tranquility washed over her. It has, Mnemosyne whispered. Fear, anticipation, joy, curiosity. They all swirled around in her stomach, a delightfully chaotic dance of emotions that refused to dissipate now that she was ready to turn her idea into a real life real life being. Mnemosyne retreated into her tiny cottage, the third she had lived in since escaping Olympus months ago, and retrieved her journal. The pages were filled with drawings and cleverly coded ciphers describing each of her creations. She settled back against the thick trunk of the tree next to her cottage and stared out at the small clearing in front of her. And who shall be the first? Mnemosyne mused. A smile curved up the corner of her mouth. The answer to that question had been clear from the moment she first conceived of the idea for her girls. Calliope, she spoke into the wind. Her first daughter could be the composed, unflappable leader of the pack. The sister the other girls turned to for guidance. Mnemosyne would give her the gift of storytelling. The thought of another being sharing her love of the written word filled Mnemosyne. I'm not really actually sure how to say this name. Mnemosyne's heart with unspeakable joy. She closed her eyes and whispered Calliope's name over and over and over like a heartfelt, desperate mantra. Moments later, she heard a soft suckling sound coming from just over her shoulder. She scrambled up from the ground and ran toward it. Nemosine's breath rushed out in a choked gasp at the sight of the stunningly beautiful brown-skinned baby nestled cozily upon a bed of leaves, her thumb stuck between her lips. All right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If, like, what I mean, we're just at the beginning here, so let me not say nothing. It's you, you're here, she whispered. She had done it. She had brought one of the magnificent creations she had designed to life. Her hands trembled as she reached down and picked up the baby. Mnemosyne united her cape from around her own neck and swaddled the girl in the soft fabric. "Oh, my dear Calliope," she cooed. There was no turning back now. Not that she ever would. One look at her daughter, and Mnemosyne knew her life would never be complete without all 5 of her girls. She was suddenly desperate to meet them all. But she must be patient. She recalled the story Athena shared regarding the uproar that ensued after the flower merchant in Thebes birthed 3 identical children on the same day. She was accused of being a witch. If Mnemosyne were to create all her girls at once, it would bring unwanted scrutiny. "I must fit in with these mortals if I want me and my girls to remain safe," Mnemosyne murmured. She would wait. Each of her girls would come into this world in due time. The baby looked up at her with large, luminous eyes. "You will do amazing things, my dear Callie. I cannot wait to see you live up to your full potential." Mnemosyne nuzzled her plump cheeks. "Keeping you safe is now my sole purpose in life. I will never allow harm to come to you or to the sisters you will soon have, I promise." It's interesting. Yeah. Again, she's the mother of memories, right? It's interesting. All right. Shall I continue? Well, I'm on page 5 right now. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. Excuse me. Definitely intrigued. Yeah, I guess you know what? Okay, that's just the introduction. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to the first chapter. Okay, yeah, let me continue here. All right. So 4 years later, Mother Cleo is pestering me again. Mnemosyne turned at the sound of Callie's annoyed voice. Her 3 and 4-year-old sat in the middle of the common room, examining the leaves they had picked while out for their daily walk. I only asked if she knew that the olive leaf can be eaten just like the fruit from the tree. Cleo said, twirling a sprig of slim leaves between her fingers. "Not many people know that." Mnemosyne had designed Cleo to be inquisitive, and her second daughter did not disappoint. No notion went uncontested when Cleo was around. Mnemosyne was careful not to dampen her daughter's thirst for knowledge. It was her best asset. Cleo would one day teach the world how to appreciate the history of what had come to pass and how to value all that now surrounded them. It was for that same reason that Mnemosyne did not suppress her daughter's extraordinary intellect. Despite several of the villagers remarking on the peculiar girls, who spoke with vocabulary of children twice their age, she first feared the unwanted attention Cleo's and Callie's advanced aptitude would bring, but then decided the scrutiny would be worth it. Her children were exceptional because she had created them that way. The rest of the world would just have to deal with it. There, you see, Nemosine said to Callie, your sister was not pestering you. She was only trying to inform you. She turned to Cleo, but maybe you can put the leaves aside for now and help me with the baby. She brought her youngest, Melpomene, to where the girls sat, and settled her in the cloth-lined basket she used to carry her around. Do you like my leaves, Mel? Cleo asked, holding the cluster up to the baby's face. Melpomene immediately broke out into a blood-curdling scream. Callie and Cleo both covered their ears with their palms. It is just leaves, Nemosine said, scooping the baby into her arms. Nothing for you to be alarmed about. Rocking from side to side, Nemosine began to hum the song she and the god Apollo used to sing together to welcome the dawn of a new day. She stopped short, surprised the tune had even come to her. She did her best to put all thoughts of her days on Olympus behind her, but the song was a pleasant reminder that not all her time with the gods had been miserable. She had made great friends she had grown to love, and that she missed dearly. Melpomene, my beautiful melody. Me, Nemosine, I keep, Nemomas, Nemosine, whispered, nuzzling the plump rolls of her baby's neck. The strong feelings this one evoked would never be denied. You may be prone to dramatics, but that's what makes you so special, isn't it? As she continued to hum, allowing the sweet melody to tickle her eyes, Nemosine found herself torn. The music brought joy for all she had experienced back in Olympus, while at the same time bringing sadness that she would likely never have those experiences again. But she wouldn't rekindle the friendships she'd shared with a few of the gods without alerting the wrong people to her daughter's existence. Nothing was more important to her than her girls. After changing the soggy linens wrapped around Mel's bottom, Nemosine gathered her daughters so they could go to the river to launder more of them. Come, girls, Nemosine called. She led the way out of the mud brick home they had moved into just before she had created Mel. But as she walked outside, a strange feeling came over her. Nemosine held Callie back with a hand. What is wrong, Mel? Shh, Nemosine said to Cleo. She heard a flutter and looked toward the trees. Was that? She could not be certain, but she thought she saw the winged ankles of Hermes, Zeus's messenger. If there was anyone Zeus would send to find her, it would be Hermes. She had hoped the ruler of the gods would have forgotten about her by now, but she should have known better. Back in the house, Nemosine whispered to her girls. Back in the house, she whispered to her girls, her heart thudding with her chest. Let us go, hurry. All right. It pained her to leave this comfortable home she'd found. Her plan had been to remain here until she brought forth her remaining daughters, but that was not to be. Come, girls, Nemosine said. It is time for another adventure. Yeah, all right. Um, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool, if you ask me. Um, I'm going to take a quick little intermission. Page 8 here. Yeah, I'll give you a little moment here just to breathe and, I'm saying, do what you got to do, use the bathroom, or grab a cup of water or whatever your fancy is, the coffee. And play some music for in the background too. All right. This will be a nice little test for me too, because I'm not sure if you can hear what I hear. I got my headphone in. The wind. There was Bemused, the twin. No, that's Thomas. Or was that a hop in with the hops? Then I'm dropping the beat. The drop it you keep. I'm saying, breathe, relax. With some of that DAX level skill, saying doing mills, you know what I'm saying, yo. But until the conceived end, and even then, my friend, it won't be, unless it's the best. And even then, what can I say? You can transcend. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? That's why we take breaks. You know what I'm saying? Never broke, but you can break. Rake in that cash and chips. I don't wear a mask, but I will flip the script, the fish, back to OP, baby. Tell you some stories. Love story time, you know what I'm saying? I don't love them stories, baby. What is life without some stories? Unlearn and relearn and learning some more. There's always something in store, baby. There's always something, Let go. Let the water, let the love flow, baby. Let that truth come out, baby. Let yourself be proud, you know what I mean? Stay in the here now. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust something. Let's see. Lights, nope. Settings, that's what it is. Nope, that's not it. Oh yeah, it's it. Well, I don't know if you hear what I hear, but I'll find out. Hey, Mr. Bay, could you tell me real quick in the comments if you can hear the music? I'm not sure how this is coming through because I got my headphones on. It's good seeing you, by the way. I'm gonna start reading, I guess, in just a second. Almost ready. I'm debating whether I should crack that last can. You can hear the music? Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I might just crack that last can. I can't believe I went through a 12-pack that quick. Downing these monsters like I'm Hercules. All right. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let me turn the music off here and get back to my reading. Okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go. So, if you're interested in this book, you can subscribe to my YouTube, or I guess it'll go up probably on TikTok as well. 12-pack of monsters, yeah, man. Well, crabbing, has been a lot slower than expected, but these monsters definitely do keep you crispy. You know what I'm saying? Keep you real sharp on the with with your alertness and everything. So, what can I say? Got to do what you got to do. All right. Jumping back into my story here, okay? So 5 years later, Mnemosyne paused, her hand that held the ink-filled reed hovering above the papyrus. She tilted her head to the side, listening for the sound again. There it was. Was that laughter, or was one of the girls throwing a tantrum? She had tried to give them their space, knowing what they were up to that day and not wanting to ruin the surprise. Every year, her daughters treated her to a performance for her birthday. The tradition began just after she'd created her youngest, Dahlia. Kali had assembled her other three younger sisters, and together they had performed a song Kali had written herself, based on the story of the Moirai, the three goddesses of fate. Thalia had joined in the festivities as soon as she was old enough, and the girls always picked from one of the stories Mnemosyne regaled them with at bedtime. You know what? Let me pause here for a second again. Pay attention to your heart rate, bro. Okay. Yeah. No, I feel you, man. I feel you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. I mean, I've heard about how these things can unalive you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like I said, I might as well just finish crack that last can. But anyway, when I'm reading this book, I got to say, I do feel intrigued for a number of reasons. The story is doing pretty good. I was just thinking of my mother. I think of her very often, actually, but and this story is about a mother, so far from what I can tell. So I am also intrigued because I myself have, had a keener interest in conscious beings, right? In a more spiritual sense, okay? Because we human beings are conscious in a spiritual sense as we, are aware of our conditioned behavior from our conditioned environment, right? We can gradually, unlearn unhealthy beliefs. We can gradually learn healthy, beneficial, you know, helpful, God serving, awarenesses, or an awareness of, these extra dimensionals, you might say. I don't want to get too out there because I think that, there's just that's the thing. There's, it's, life is mysterious. Um, but yeah, thinking about the main character here as a muse, right? She kind of makes me think about like, she's like an angel in a way, right? Or a jinn, maybe even you might say. I love the jinn, right? I mean, as a Nihonjin, as a Japanese man, I can't help but say that I do love the jinn, you know what I'm saying? But again, I don't know all the details about all the different kinds of conscious entities, whether they be angel, jinn, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, bodhisattva, I don't, prophetic or whatever, whatever you want to direct your attention to. Um, and as for me, I tend to, feel like it's best to give attention to, your immediate environment or loved ones, if you're away, as I am right now from my lady, who I, pray as well. I know she's going through it, and yeah, please throw out some good vibes or prayers for my lady. I know she would love to. It will definitely help her. It'll help me. It'll help all of us. Okay. Um, so, but so that's the thing for me. Yeah, maybe I won't get too caught up in all that right now, but I just thought I'd say it, and I'll just keep on with the book here. Here we go. There was that sequel again. Mnemosyne set down the reed and her journal and went into the common room. This cottage was bigger than any of the previous ones they had lived in. She vowed this would be their forever home, a place where her girls could finally find some stability. Elisona was far enough from Olympus that she finally felt safe. There would be no more need to move again. Mnemosyne found her 5 daughters lined up in a row from oldest to youngest. Calliope, Clio, Melpomene, Terpsichore, and Thalia. As usual, Terpsichore, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, whom the girls called Ri, could not keep still. She twisted back and forth, moving her arms as if they were blowing in the wind. Mnemosyne's fierce little dancer had learned to perform before she learned to walk, and had gracefully glided through life ever since. Terpsichore's energy and enthusiasm annoyed her sisters. But where was the fun in creating a family that always got along? At least Mnemosyne had once felt that way. But as her daughters grew older and their individual personalities began to blossom, she wondered if she could have taken a bit more care with their temperaments. "What are you girls up to?" Mnemosyne asked. "It's a surprise," Melpomene cheered. "Shh," Cleo told her. You'll spoil it." "No, I won't," Mel cried. "Mother, tell her I will not spoil your birthday surprise." Mnemosyne had to bite her bottom lip to prevent herself from laughing. "No, you will not," she answered. "I will be completely surprised no matter what. But I do hope that I get at least one song from my girls." Ooh, the 5 of you are never more powerful than when you lift your voices together. Mel clapped excitedly. "There is a song." "Wait." Dahlia stuck her pudgy fingers out at her. "We are not ready." She looked to Callie. "We are not ready, are we?" "We are ready," Callie said, with the poise normally displayed by people twice her age. Calliope took several steps forward and in a strong voice said, "It is your birthday, Mother. To mark this glorious occasion, we, your daughters, would like to present to you a musical extravaganza." Mnemosyne silently recited the words along with her. Callie had opened every birthday performance in the same way for the past 5 years. She clapped excitedly, pretending to be surprised. How lovely. And what story will you present today? Callie, Callie nodded toward Ree, who nodded in return before completing a full twirl and leaping in the air. Sit back and relax, dear mother, as we entertain you, Ree said. She pointed to Mel, who took 2 steps forward, and with bubbly anticipation continued. With a story that is certain to thrill you. Thalia barreled forward with blood and boar. What? Blood and boar. I think boar is in boredom. Yeah, it's got to be. All right. Because boredom, B-O-R-E, is how this word is spelled here. It's got to be, it couldn't be boar as in like, you know what I'm saying, pig or boar is spelled different. That's with an H. All right. Anyway, let's see. It's blood and gore, Ree chastised in a loud whisper. Mnemosyne's head snapped back. Blood and gore? But in the end, we'll have you wanting more, Cleo said. Callie took center stage once again. Watch as we present how the mighty Zeus defeated the horrible Titans. Mnemosyne went completely still as a knot formed in her stomach. Where did you hear this? I never told you this story. I read it in a book, Cleo said. She ran to the table where she kept the stack of books she borrowed from her village's small library and held up a thick tone that would have made any other 8-year-old recoil. See? Now, no more interrupting, Mother, Ree said. She executed another perfect twirl. It is a time for the musical extravaganza to begin. Mnemosyne forced a smile, knowing it must look strained. She'd regaled her daughters with many tales of the gods over the years, but there were some stories she would rather stay buried forever. She considered wiping their memories clean of anything dealing with the Titans, but then thought better of it. As far as her daughters knew, the horrible Titans were missed like all the other stories she'd shared with them. She planned to keep it that way. At Callie's command, the girls burst into song, telling the story of a time in Mnemosyne's life that she had tried so very hard to forget. All right. Oh, look at that. That is the end of the introduction. We have just reached chapter 1. So, the prologue. That was the prologue right there. Yeah, well, it's done a good job capturing my attention. Again, I was a fan of Hercules, both the animated movie, Disney animated movie, as this one is curtailing. The animated series I watched as a kid. Also, Hercules and Xena was definitely a favorite in my family's household growing up. So, yeah, this is pretty cool for me. I could continue. Let's see how the next chapter is looking here. Let's see how long this chapter is. Looks like it's a bit of a longer one. Let's see, all the way up till 27. We got a solid 14 pages for the first chapter. Yeah, I don't know. Let me just go ahead and play that music again, take a break, and I'll decide after I come back from that break. So, thanks for being here. Shout out Mr. Bay. And yeah. Let's see here. All right, yeah, it looks like I got some work to do, so I'm gonna just go ahead and call it here. But once again, special shout out, Mr. Bay, true champion of the way. Sending much love, blessings, and power to a real one. You know what I'm saying? And yours. You know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah, thank you all for being here. Once again, all the best to you. Stay tuned, follow, like, and don't forget to show some respect.